So what do public health experts make of the Prime Minister extending this lockdown? I'm joined by one of India's foremost public health experts, Dr. K Srinath Reddy. He's the president of the Public Health Foundation of India. He headed the Department of Cardiology at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Dr. Reddy, welcome. Your sense of the need to have extended this lockdown, what do you make of what the Prime Minister said this morning, Dr. Reddy?
We do need to make our best effort to try and slow down and disrupt the transmission of the virus as much as possible. Particularly if we want to take advantage of the fact that we have a large rural population which has not been exposed to the virus, but is potentially under the threat of urban to rural transmission. We need to ensure that the lockdown prevents that transmission till we can gain control in the urban areas. And even within the urban areas, there are particular hotspots which need to be blocked off. And we need to ensure that we get a clear picture of what the position is in each district before we can decide on where all different levels of economic activity and social activity can be resumed with a greater degree of safety. But to rein in the virus transmission at this point in time, we do need to take advantage of the extended period of lockdown.
How do we take advantage of the extended period? What can we do over these 3 weeks to maximize the fact that large parts of India will remain in lockdown? How do we ensure that when we re-enter post this lockdown, we're as best prepared as we can be as a country and as a people?
Firstly, to gather intelligence from multiple sources to get a clear picture of what is happening in each district, both in the urban component of the district and the rural component of the district. Because we really have to disaggregate our strategy now, not only to the state level, but to the district level and to urban and rural areas. For that, we need to depend upon 3 types of information. Firstly, we do need to do random sample testing of the population, urban and rural, within each district. Secondly, try and do as much as possible household visits to do what's called syndromic surveillance, to try and find out whether people in any household are having fever, cough, or other symptoms associated with COVID infection, and how severe is it, whether it requires household isolation or whether it actually requires hospitalization. But that gives you data as well at the household level. Third is to monitor the cases that are actually getting into hospital and see whether that load is increasing or whether it's being contained. Therefore, we will be able to get a profile of the different levels.
I appreciate, Dr. Reddy, the need to ramp up testing as quickly as possible, but I'm also reading a lot of dispatches filed by our reporters which say that efforts that we made to procure testing kits haven't led to fruition just yet because A, there's a global bidding war going on. A lot of what we thought supplies would come to India have then got diverted elsewhere. So how do you ramp up testing at a time when the orders that you're placing aren't arriving as per the scheduled deadlines?
I entirely agree with that. That's why we need to prioritize how we are using the tests. So much of the diagnosis can be made on the basis of clinical presentation, and presumptive treatment and presumptive isolation can be done on the basis of what we call syndromic surveillance. Testing can be restricted to some of the confirmation of the hospital cases and their contacts, but more importantly, the available kits can also be utilized to look at what the status of each district is. It doesn't require very large numbers to get that kind of a diagnostic picture of each district. I know that.
Can you explain this? Can you explain this, sir? You're saying that you don't need to test too deeply to get a broad diagnostic picture. What does that mean in numbers? If in a moderately populated district, I was to get a sense of, how safe, whether it's red, green or amber, what is the level of testing that you think would be required to arrive at that conclusion?
Well, based upon the size of the district and the age structure of the district and the rural-urban proportion of the district, it would only mean a few thousands in each district.
Just take an average Indian district. In your view, how many thousands would be required? What does thousands mean?
Well, basically, it's ICMR which is actually estimating the levels. I think the levels are ranging anywhere between 4,000 to 10,000, depending upon the size of the district. It can be managed according to the nature of the age and population distribution as well.
But so far we're doing 17,000 tests. You've got 700 plus districts. We're doing 17,000 tests across the country. You're saying we need to do between 4 and 10,000 tests per district. That is a very, very substantial ramping up. We're not getting global supplies. How can we create that capacity internally, Dr. Reddy? How much time might it take?
Basically, it depends upon the states whether they have the personnel and whether they have the access to the kits. That's why even if you're not able to do that entirely, at least depend upon the syndromic surveillance. Look at some of the states like Kerala and Andhra Pradesh, who are actually doing household visits and are using syndromic surveillance to decide on the isolation strategy.
Okay.
So you have to use all the instruments that you have at your disposal, not depend only on the testing kits. This is what we are saying.
And how successful is syndromic testing? You're saying syndromic surveillance. From what I figured, one second. Here's my question, sir. My question is this: that I read reports which said that even when you're tested, there's only about an 80% chance that the test will throw up the right result. 20% of the tests throw up false negatives. Now, given the fact that even testing is only 4/5 right, how successful are you when you just look at syndromes and try and decide whether you should begin some kind of treatment or not?
Well, in this particular case, you are trying to decide whether a person requires isolation or not. Testing is not the guide to treatment strategy. Treatment is decided upon the severity of the clinical presentation. It's only the decision regarding isolation. And in terms of isolation, based upon the syndromic surveillance, you can play it safe by extending the isolation of a person who has a fairly high degree of likelihood of having the COVID problem. So
how well do you think India has done as a country so far relative to other countries? How has India done so far, sir?
Well, I think India has started later than other countries in terms of actual exposure, but it has managed to contain the dissemination quite well. And we definitely need to ramp up our health systems and social systems further. But within the constraints of our resources, we have actually mobilized our health systems fairly well across many states. And southern states, of course, have done much better. Odisha has done well too. And other states now need to actually step up and raise their performance. But I think overall as a country, we have done fairly well, judging by the number of cases that are getting hospitalized and the rate of the virus growth that we are seeing in terms of the reported caseload.
President of the Public Health Foundation of India, Dr. Srinath Reddy, deeply appreciate your very incisive insights into India's battle against the coronavirus. I hope we can have you back on our network over the next several hours as we see this pandemic unfold. I'm going to be slipping into a quick break. Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.